groups. These are the names of this and this. They're just familiar. And the idea of the study is, what does it take to stop a dog when they're in this mindset? That was just the main objective. It wasn't, how does that translate to the dog being in open space and chasing sheep, or when the mindset is similar, we know that we can either accomplish it or not if it works in that setting. And again, just because we were able to stop them not to chase the plastic bag, that doesn't mean that they will not chase something else. But what it means is that we can create the same association with anything they want to chase and convince them not to, in a very safe way. And when we talk about, like, I learned so much about studies, and again, like, I've been reading studies for so long now, and it took me a long time to even learn how to read studies and what questions to ask. But doing it was it's just like kind of like writing a book. All of a sudden, it's a very special experience. And with watching the dogs, the positive reinforcement dogs chasing, and not being able to catch it, because you really can play with their games to where you can just drill like a cat with a cat dog. It's not that it's one direction and they can just kind of stop it and grab it. It's like, no, then you can go the other way. I mean, really drive them crazy. And they cannot stop. And then you see a very frustrated animal that the cortisol levels on the first two dogs were way higher than the electric color group, simply because the electric color dogs were just rolling on the grass and doing kind of stupid things, while the other ones were exhausting themselves in chasing and barking in frustration. So, like, they're clearly so upset and frustrated that they're stressed out because of that.
Good girl. Good job.
So there was things like this that were, very, very interesting. And then when you think of cost and benefit, this is always the forestry community, at least. I wouldn't think it's all of them, but the people that are in this really extreme levels. If you cannot stop a dog from chasing a car, and your answer is, well, why would you let the dog off leash? These are the conversations that get very interesting, and there is probably, like, we all get stuck in a loop and we cannot get out of it. Because I want my dog to be able to be free. I believe in being free. I coming from a communist country myself. I grew up in a place where freedom is not something that it's just you don't have. And having a dog that every once in a while you can pick some space to where they can be free, but most of the time they're on a long leash, and sure, you have all these buttons, and that's just not what a dog would like to do if they have a choice. Like, you can leave them with the game, and you can leave them a free space, and they will run, and they will dig holes, and they will chase squirrels, and they will be dogs. I think this is one of the kind of difficult conversations that just doesn't seem to, and difficult because we absolutely disagree on why do you want to have these three dogs run together? And that's why the one has electric color, because you can tell them to tone it down a little bit if needed. But other than that, they have the freedom to do anything they want to do as a group of dogs.
What you said is interesting to think about for everyone. Is, let's just say there is a pocket of redirection into what we call the sniffing games and little
Good
games in there
job.
just to not have the dog focus on something that we don't want them to focus on, which could be the squirrel, the car driving by. But then the next question is if they had a choice, because you still have to put in some effort into getting the dog pay attention to the alternative, let's just say sniffing games. If they had a choice, would they still prefer that over doing anything else that is now being eliminated because with the reinforcement of one particular behavior, you also eliminate all other choices.
Right.
And what comes to mind is an argument I hear a lot with zoo animals, where it is being argued that we've shown in zoo animals many times that positive reinforcement works. And I've read a lot of studies on the actual perception of that training by zoo animals in terms of it's not so much about the reward they're getting, but having no choice,
Right.
but doing it for the resource because otherwise they wouldn't get any food. And I think that's something we need to consider in terms of because we're all about welfare of dogs and giving them, hey, we're assuming this is what you prefer as a dog, but is it really? And
Yeah.
not giving a choice otherwise is something
Yeah.
we don't think about a lot.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, and it is pointed out always when in any kind of not in direct conversations, because we don't have direct conversations, but it's always pointed out that, well, if you can
Good girl.
convince an elephant to
Good.
draw blood, what about a dog? It's like,
Right.
I'm not interested in drawing blood off a leg of an elephant behind these insanely strong metal bars. I would be interested in with you interacting with some wild elephant, like go in, I don't know, India or Thailand or
Yeah.
Africa, and do something with inner freedom, come to some level of cooperation and convince them to do something. That would be of interest. But having an orca in a bathtub, I mean, it's like a highly social animal, deprived from its own species, deprived from any expansion of energy. I mean, it's like you're living in an
Nails?
elevator, you're a human.
On your nails?
And then
Okay.
you have to perform tricks to get some food. On one side, I understand, okay, yes, we can
Yes,
do
good
it.
girl.
I mean, of course we can do it. It's been
Good
done, and we
job.
know, and it's been experimented,
job.
and yes, here is the result. But it's way more valuable
Oh.
to have this accomplished with an animal outside. Now, I had this conversation with some people, and well, we can take an open ocean. It's like, no, it's not about already brainwashed animal going in an open ocean when the open ocean is not home anymore.
Right.
That's not beyond the point. But unfortunately, somehow that's how that whole movement of the superiority of positive reinforcement over everything else started
Yeah.
with Marine World, with Marine World trainers, and not understanding that this is, I mean,